If I were to ask you guys out of 10, how would you rate how important the mental aspect in your game is, compared to fitness, cardio, technique, experience, strategy, mental strength? Where would you put that in ranking? And also, how important is that for you personally?
I think personally, like let's say I could choose, I prefer to be someone gifted with game IQ and like amazing um mental ability, like mental strength, just to be able to get into the flow or whatever it is, just to be able to play at your peak performance. I would choose that over being physically gifted with talents or with good footwork. No, I mean that's not something you're gifted with, but you could be gifted with genetics that could allow you to become very skilled at footwork and become very fluent at footwork and make it very natural and second nature. But I would personally prefer if you were trained and naturally it came to you, game IQ and combinations and changing up your original game plan midpoint. So many players will go into a game plan for a match, but the best players you see they change it midpoint. They're like, okay, we're going to defend for 30 shots. They're going to get their opponents tired, and then they're going to switch to the attack when they see them fading. Do you know what I mean? And that's never done. You don't see that at any type of level except the highest level. And I think, like you said, Lee Chong Wei is proof of that. The mental aspect, because I would say technically, tactically, and physically, he's as good as anyone on the circuit when he was in his prime, as good as Lin Dan, if not better. But I think where Lin Dan was stronger was in his mind, and that's why he was, or majority of the
Yeah.
time, came out on top. So yeah, Lee Chong Wei I think is proof that mental strength is the most important thing in badminton, because you can feel it when you're just relaxed. Your shots they come off so much nicer, they're so much more consistent, they're so much crisper. And when you're stressed, everything's just
Yeah.
tight and it doesn't work really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that because I think for myself, playing more tournaments over the last like 2 years, it's okay. I know I have the ability. Yes, I know I can play, but it comes down to okay, am I able to not remain composed, but just be content to play my game. It's more important about me doing what I know, and that is in your head because physically, okay, I can run up and down the court, I can keep playing, but it's okay, right? When you're training and you're practicing, you're not running up and down the court like that. You're doing a specific skill. You're practicing something. You're very controlled. It's not sporadic movement. It's very controlled, and it's remembering to do that in a game sense that okay, right, if something you hit something a good shot and you just got to remember okay, right, the person can get it back and I need to, if they get it back I can still hit that same shot a couple more times. I don't need to try and win the point. And I think it's all okay. Right now, when I play, I'll be like, calm down, Daniel, calm down. Like it's not okay, Daniel. You need to play this shot because you don't know. It depends what your opponent's going to do, but you can have a tactic. But it's always about okay, right. I need to do this and I need to do that, and it's more of okay, right. Am I thinking correctly? It's being not content in yourself, but knowing that you're able to put your best foot forward and thinking correctly. Like I think for Lee Jong Wei, winning an Olympic medal for him was so big, not because just for him, but it's for the whole country. So it's not. It's a lot of things. Everyone's like, oh, okay, if you're a badminton fan, yes, he should have won. He hasn't won. It's like, yo, wait. Okay, so you name me another athlete in the world that has the pressure of being the first ever gold medalist in the Olympics for any sport for your whole country. And that's something that I think if you don't know, you'll be like, wow, there's not just the pressure of him winning a badminton match. There's the pressure of the fact that Malaysia have never won a gold medal in anything. They've never won any gold medals. In all the times they've been in the Olympics, they've never won any gold medals. So mentally, you're like, it's a big thing. And a lot of the times you'll see, I think you'll find you'll win the first match and then something changes. And then it's your mental strength to get that back to say, okay, right, I need to change something and I need to be strong in this third game, even though I lost that second game, doing the same thing that I did in the first game. I think it is a lot. I think there's the physical aspect, and you can always work. I think you can work on the physical aspect as well as the mental. But I think the mental aspect is a lot more. It's a lot harder. It's a lot
Definitely.
more. Yeah.
I think every player knows that the mental side of the game is almost more important, because if you go in the game feeling already defeated because of your opponent's skill or his reputation or anything like that, you're adding pressure onto you. So, you know, what Joe was mentioning is when you don't think about your next shot. So that's what we call like the flow zone, and it's something that we try to research, because we know that it happens. We know that there is a point where you're not thinking anymore. You're letting your body and all the practice and all the accumulation of the drills that you've done just go into place, and it becomes an automatism. And that's something that's mental, but it's a weird phenomenon, because you're trying not to think. You're trying to let your mind and your body just kind of take over. And that's not really something that you can just ignite, you know, especially if you're in a situation of pressure. But in times like that, there are some exercises. I mean, I know sometimes if it's like 18-17 over 20 oars, I just try and tell myself, you know, don't think too much. To just the next shot, just try and make sure that the next shot that you do is a good technique or is a powerful shot, and you know, you're determined. So you've made that decision before the person serves or before you serve, that the next shot that you're going to do, you visualize it is going to win. There's little things like that, but as you say, it's not something that you can really have control of until maybe, you know, you're the mindfulness expert. You can tell us, you know, meditation and visualization.
Yep. They all play a huge part, and I think for me it was just experience. The more you put yourself out there and the more you are playing out of your comfort zone, the more you kind of get used to and familiar to playing at that. And it's like there's one thing going to a tournament and playing the first round in the group stages, to playing a semi-final, and then to playing a final. Your mind state, because it's exhausting, it drains on you. You know, like even in the first game, like the anxiety, the nerves, then you play, then the adrenaline dump afterwards, you come off and you kind of feel okay, you chill out, and then they call your name again, and then it's like, okay, you're back on the court. And you find out, did we make it through from the group stages into the, you know, into the quarters? But then when you go through, there's more people watching you now, and then there's more pressure than if you make semis and then finals. It's like, when there's more on the line, the more nerves we feel, but the more we get exposed to being in those situations where we are at the high pressure, the more we can give our brains and that mental state an opportunity to acclimatize and become familiar of what it's like to playing badminton when you're in that. And you start to have good results, then you can start to reinforce it. You know what? We always feel this way, but we usually do okay. You know, and with that reinforcement, it's like, okay, well, it's just kind of just catching it when that negativity arises, just to remind yourself that it's normal to feel like that. My opponent's probably feeling like that as well. Their game, like you said, where we can develop a state of flow, where it's not so much about, you know, worrying about how good that person is or how many times you've met before and how many times they've won, but, you know, bring it into the now and just worrying about the next point and just worrying about what you got to do now. Not what happened 2 points ago, but each point as it comes.
Yeah, I was just saying, remember when you were saying you can't think about what happened 2 points, so you have to think about what's going to happen in the next point and even down to the next shot. But you also can't be thinking about anything else at the same time. There was a Canadian player. He actually caught my eye because he plays mixed, singles and men's, all on the HSBC World Tour. And the only player in the world that plays all three disciplines right now. Mm-hmm. And he said, I saw it, and it was a BWF interview. Yeah. And he said he was talking about how he thinks of each point as a war, and just so it's not 21 points to 3, or how if it's 2 clear points and goes further. It's each war, and you lose one, you lose a point, you lose a war. You can't think about the war you lost because you have to go fight another war and another war, another war. He says he cannot think about it as if it is 21 points because he has to think of it as every point as a war, as a battle that he needs to win. Yeah. And I was like, wow, at the highest level, we think, okay, just the next point. I was like, oh, we're going to try win. It's like, no, it's a battle. They have to win that war. And you see when these rallies go, like, even plus, like, what's an average long rally for us, our level? 15
Yeah.
shots. That's a pretty long rally. You see them going 60, 100, 130. Like some of like the women, they got 160 shot rally. It's craziness. And it's just, you see, it's just a battle. It's a war, and that's just shows the mindset you need to have to get to that high level.